On this Breed All About It.
Oh, you onto something?
These dogs adapt easily to any task.
What do you got? What do you got? What do you got?
And are able to ignore life's discomforts.
Airedales tend to be very stoic and tolerate pain very, very well.
Down.
They take to learning just like that, as long as it's fun.
Usually when owners have problems, it's because they're not very interesting themselves.
He crawled. Give him a treat.
The all-round athlete of the dog world. It's the Airedale Terrier. Take a look at one of the most versatile breeds around.
Roll over. Good boy.
The masterminds behind the Airedale Terrier hope to create one of the most talented hunters in dogdom.
Good.
By mixing an Otterhound with an Old English Black and Tan Terrier and Irish Terrier, breeders created a true jack-of-all-trades. The original Airedale jumped the riverbanks along the River Aire in Yorkshire, tracking down otters in the late 1800s. They cornered and captured rabbits and pheasant for local miners and farmers. And in America, Airedales were even known for taking on big game like grizzly bears. The breed also served as bodyguards and best friends to loved ones.
One for you.
And their fondness of the family continues today.
You just get one.
Brad Benson and Snowden live in Colorado, and as you can tell, snow is a big part of their lives.
Oh boy.
Whether
Oh
at play
boy,
or work,
boy.
when these two get down to business,
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
it
Let's
requires getting up a mountain.
go. Let's go. So we just come up here, put on the outfit, and get on the lift. What up?
Snowden's job as a ski patrolman's dog requires amazing versatility.
He loves it. He gets pretty excited. You ready to go to work? Are you? Are you ready? Let's go. He goes along in line like all the people, and then we have him slow down the chair and we jump on. Okay, up.
Riding chairlifts is old hat to
Okay,
Snowden.
thanks.
The breed's nonchalant nature keeps it from being afraid of just about anything.
There you go. Good boy. Good boy. Nice load.
More than 8,000 skiers hit the slopes each day at this Aspen resort.
You let him get
Brad, with Snowden's support, tries to keep them safe. Snowden rides side saddle when patrolling the slopes and the backcountry. No big deal to an Airedale. They'll take on any challenge if given the chance.
Well, I was living up here on top of the mountain when I got him when he was 7 weeks old. And so he'd just kind of ride in my coat then and ride in the snowmobile. So since day one, he was riding on, just me holding him, riding on chairlifts and snowmobiles, and he'd ride down in my backpack. Snowden will ride on absolutely anything I ask him to. He's pretty trusting.
No amount of snow keeps Snowden from savoring the outdoors. Not even when it clusters up his coat.
He gets kind of balled up, yeah. He gets snowballs on his whiskers and on his feet. I've got some cream I put in his pads, which is supposed to help prevent the snowballs. It doesn't really, but it makes them really easy to pull out.
Airedales have a strong, sturdy coat, capable of handling most frigid conditions.
His hair is just so thick, being curly like that, that when you dig your fingers down in his coat, he's not wet at all down below.
The jobs required of Airedales in years gone by make it a breed able to sustain many tough circumstances. Airedales were among the first breeds chosen for police work in England and Germany, where they helped to capture criminals. Their loyal spirit and tough demeanor allowed them to be excellent soldiers in World Wars I and II. The dogs carried supplies and messages to the front. Their strong sense of smell also helped them locate wounded soldiers. It's even been said Airedales could use their noses to distinguish enemy from comrade. Their strong build and ability to endure pain allowed them to work the front lines with the Red Cross. Their desire to rescue remains intact today. Snowden is the perfect example. He's well prepared for his main job, finding injured skiers and buried victims in avalanche debris.
Here's a nice blush.
A weekly drill keeps Snowden's skills fine-tuned.
We try to practice about once a week, and usually we have enough snow up here we can dig a hole 4 or 5 feet deep.
An Airedale's searching technique differs from other rescue dogs.
The Goldens and the Labs kind of run all over the place and cover the same area, they just work differently. Snowden's a little more methodical. He goes slower and walks back and forth, but they both get the job done in approximately the same amount of time.
After disguising all clues of the victim's whereabouts, Snowden goes into action.
Okay, you want to work? You want to work? Are you ready to work? Huh? You want to work? Okay, let's search. Hey, right now he's just gonna zigzag back and forth, sniffing around, keep working this way.
Brad has learned to read Snowden's subtle body language when he nears a find.
I can tell the difference between when he's just onto a backpack or something that's buried in a person just because of the way he digs, but it's not real obvious. It's pretty subtle. It just comes from years of being a team.
And the telltale sign of a real find?
He kind of perks up a little bit and starts pawing the ground a little with his feet. And oh, you onto something? Okay, Snow, what do you got? What do you got? What do you got? You onto something? What do you got? What do you got? What do you got?
Airedales are not typically excitable, so even in an emergency, they remain calm.
You got a person here, Snow? What do you got? Oh boy, oh boy.
The real excitement begins with the game that follows a successful find.
Oh, good boy. Hey, look, Snow, look. Oh boy, you found him. You found him. Good search. What a good search. Yes. Now we play with him as a reward. Okay, good boy. Go get it.
The game
Good boy.
reinforces a job well done.
Okay, Snow, come on, get it.
All that's left is to carry the victim to safety, and Snowden leads the way. It seems Airedales are always at the front of the pack when it comes to learning new tricks. For trainer Coralie Burmaster, handling Airedales is a snap. Well, okay, a click, as in clicker training.
Okay, why don't we all gather round? What I'd like to do this evening is review the various ways of getting behavior, remembering that the whole issue with clicker training is that if we don't get the behavior, we can't reinforce it.
Like all terriers, Airedales are known for their feistiness and independence. One of the best ways to train them is just a click away.
I started training dogs 35 years ago when we got our first Airedale, and it was absolutely necessary. He became selectively deaf and used to bolt out the front door.
Clicker training combines food rewards with the behavior the owner wants to reinforce.
So what I'd like you to do at this point is lure the dogs into a sit, and click. Excellent.
The key is to click at the exact second the dog begins to do what you ask.
The first thing you do is you pair the click with a treat. Click, treat, without asking for any behaviors. When the dog hears the click, he knows that a treat is coming.
Down. I've got your
Timing is everything. The click signals the right response.
Sit. Down.
That allows you then to mark a behavior. The dog is going to learn that if he sits, you click and treat. And once he starts offering you that behavior, whoa, I can get this stupid person to click and treat me. All I have to do is sit down.
Eventually, the clicker becomes a communication tool between owner and dog.
Down.
But you have to get the desired behavior first.
Typical Airedale.
Airedales can be a challenge to train, but not for lack of intelligence.
People say they're stubborn. Well, they're not stubborn. They bore easily. And people need to remember that. An Airedale bores very easily. You cannot repeat things over and over and over with him. Let's try some loose lead walking. And remember, when they're doing well, to click and treat. The average Airedale with the person that he adores and loves, if you correct him, if you yell at him, particularly if he doesn't understand what you want, they'll turn off. That stops training.
And that's why clicker training is preferred for Airedales. The dogs don't find the sounds offensive like they might with harsh verbal commands. Airedales may also be won over by using more creative methods of training.
Usually when owners have problems with this breed, it's because they're not very interesting themselves. And For the Airedale, if you're not more interesting than what's going on over in the field, they're not the least bit interested in what you're doing. Hi.
Coralie can even teach new dogs old tricks.
Hi, babies. There are 4 puppies. They're 8 weeks old, and I started training them when they were 5 weeks old.
Puppies as young as 3 weeks old can respond to clicker training.
They get so focused on the food at this age. The click ends the behavior. I don't care if she gets up afterwards. Let me see if I can nose tease her down. Yes, very good.
Airedales reach a critical learning stage between 7 and 12 weeks.
One of the things that I'm doing with these puppies is teaching them how to learn. They are learning to learn. An older dog that has never learned to learn is very difficult to train. Very difficult, just like someone who's not learned to read until adulthood. There is nothing like puppy breath.
It takes time to educate Airedale puppies, but as Coralie shows, a little inventive clicking can go a long way.
Good girl.
Airedales aren't ones to sit still very easily. But this dog's submissiveness could be the result of her final week of pregnancy.
This is an ultrasound Doppler. I've listened to her about every 3-4 days or so to try and just basically follow the development of the fetuses as well as figure out how many puppies I have in the litter.
This attention might seem a little too much for a pet.
Airedales tend to be very stoic and tolerate pain very, very well, and it's a real easy breed to miss the early symptoms of labor.
This tolerance can lead to tragic consequences for this breed.
The Airedales especially don't necessarily make good moms. If her deliveries were unattended, she wouldn't open the sacs. They'd be suffocated because once they're born, if they're not out of the sacs, they'll die from lack of oxygen.
This former nurse is revolutionizing canine midwifery on behalf of Airedale mums everywhere. Her invention, Whelp-Wise, takes the guesswork out of whelping.
I spent about 2 years doing research. We found that you could do everything to dogs that you do for humans as far as monitoring contractions, anticipating labor, monitoring the fetuses for being healthy.
The system also allows Karen to be ready when Hannah delivers.
Okay, come on, let's go to bed. Come on.
The fetal monitor strapped to Hannah's abdomen allows Karen to observe any changes. Most Airedales give birth after around 60 days of gestation.
I called all my whelping help and said my guess would be somewhere between 2 and 3 in the afternoon.
And at 2:37 p.m.
Oh, good. Upside down and backwards.
It's a boy, precisely on schedule. In normal circumstances, the mother will tear the sac and lick the newborn to stimulate breathing. But given Hannah's past history, Karen takes over and suctions out fluid from the pup's nose and throat.
Holy cow, it's huge. Here, come over here. Come over here, honey.
Most Airedale puppies weigh in at around 220 grams, that's 8 ounces. But this firstborn tipped the scales.
13 ounces.
Hannah is off to a heavy start, and as expected, she's not alarmed, typical of an Airedale. The next hour produces little stress from Hannah, but lots of puppies. It's hard to keep track after a while.
This is baby 4, 5, 6. Mom is very tired. So far we have three girls, 3 boys.
Let's see what the tiebreaker is here.
That's actually a good delivery, Karen. I got a good. That's probably one of the best we got. She's very calm and.
Is this guy even okay?
Still number 7 here.
Crying out loud, baby.
Hannah began strongly and ended with a big finish, at least when it comes to puppy size.
13.5 ounces.
13.5.
She's the biggest one.
It's Big Bertha.
The final tally is 5 girls and 3 boys. Importantly, Hannah is tending to her brood, not normally a strong point of the breed.
I don't think they're great moms. From other breeders that I've talked to, they tend to be fairly indifferent. Some of them do a better job than others, but they're definitely not your golden retrievers and labs who are just the mothers of the year.
Now it's Karen's turn to be Mother of the Year and play nanny to 8 puppies for the next few weeks. The modern-day Airedale is a better pet than a working dog.
Elmo, let's go get the paper.
And they're very animated.
He's a lot like Tigger with springs, you know, bounces around.
Alarmingly smart with high energy. Airedales rank close to poodles in their ability to learn tricks. And Ruth Whitefield has taught Elmo more than 25.
I think that, in a word, an Airedale is a clown.
These canines are the thinking man's clown dog.
Take it, hold it, good, hold it. Now you wait. Time to mail a letter.
An Airedale must have sufficient reason to perform, be it good fun, humouring his human,
Touch. Good.
or simply treats.
It's like training a cinder block. And you know, sometimes I do get, you know, sort of frustrated, like, is anybody in there? Hello?
Ruth knows a bored Airedale is like a gifted but unchallenged student.
He can get bored easily and might start tearing things up, whereas if I can channel his energy in a constructive way, then he can burn it up and take a nap instead of chewing up the pillows or my shoes or something.
Her pillows are safe for today.
The mommy has to do the spit on the hair.
Elmo has a preschool performance at Duke School for Children in Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
He's gonna do his tricks for the kids. Elmo, don't go running off.
Some Airedales can be tentative about new surroundings, but Elmo dives right in.
Elmo, leave it. No Play-Doh for you.
Today's mission for Elmo is to teach children that any skill can be perfected with practice.
Elmo is very happy to see you guys this morning.
He licked me on the head.
He licked you on the head. He gave you a kiss
No.
with his nose.
And to introduce them to the nature of dogs.
He's smelling your mouth to see what you ate. He wants to know whether you had cereal or a sandwich or what you ate.
Cereal.
You did?
Naturally speaking, Airedales love to please, and Elmo's no exception.
Elmo, would you like to do some tricks for these guys today? He says, yes, I would. Oh, yes. Well, first of all, you need to say hello. Wave hello. Oh, hello. And say hello. Speak loud. Say a big loud hello. Oh, you're a good boy. Guess how old Elmo is? How old do you think? 3 1/2. 3 1/2.
Like
some of you are 3 1/2.
That's right. Okay, guys, thank you.
Airedales enjoy what might charitably be called a prolonged adolescence.
Elmo, peekaboo. Peekaboo.
Well into their dog teens.
Thank you. You guys can each have a turn to come up.
Some critics say that untrained Airedales are too rough and rambunctious for young children.
Do you want to have him crawl?
Yeah.
Okay. Bend down and say crawl.
Crawl.
He crawled. Give him the treat.
Others claim adult Airedales make the best energetic and enthusiastic playmates.
Then come on up here, and Elmo come forward a little bit, and Elmo sit. And yeah, and you take your finger and you say roll over. Say it. I'll help you say it, okay? You ready? And you do your finger. Roll over. Yeah, thank you, Kennedy.
Elmo, you did such a good job. Stand and take a bow. Bye. Let's go, Elmo.
The show used up a lot of brain power, but Elmo's engine is still going strong.
There's a lake in my neighborhood where I take Elmo regularly for him to run off a lot of that energy. Elmo loves to swim. The first time he went swimming, he was just a year old.
This is Airedale heaven. Woods to snuff and sniffle, a sandbox to dig in, and a game owner with a pocket full of treats.
He is an Elmo. Elmo, no. Good boy. This way. Good boy.
Finally, it's time for a nap. The Germans were the first to use Airedales as soldiers, The tough terriers served as messengers, warriors, and ammunition transporters during the Boxer Rebellion in China. In World War I, the Germans used the Airedale as their most common war dog. They assigned at least 2 of the working dogs to each company as sentries and messengers. 30,000 Airedales served Germany during the war years of 1914 to 1918. 7,000 of them died in action. The French relied on the Airedale more for rescue work. They were used to sniff and find the injured.
Keep working this way.
Similar to how ski patrolman Brad Benson's dog Snowden performs today.
They'd go out and find wounded people, and apparently then they'd go back and get help and take it back to the soldiers.
The dogs carried first aid kits to the front and helped haul stretchers bearing the injured. They also hauled cages carrying messenger pigeons to the front lines. Soldiers then strapped notes to the birds and sent them back to camp. The Airedale's role in wartime gave people the chance to see the incredible versatility of the breed. They're known as the king of terriers, but will these jack-of-all-trades complement your lifestyle? Consider this. The Airedale Terrier gets 4 points out of 4 for intelligence. There's a good chance he'll outsmart an owner. For temperament, another 4 points. They're loyal and trusty family members, but indifferent to strangers. The breed's coat requires lots of regular grooming, 2 points for maintenance. But at least they don't shed hair. The Airedale's health is hearty, 3 points for that. But beware, these dogs may not show pain if injured. For versatility, 4 points out of 4. They swim, guard, haul, hunt, and they love to learn.
Hey, puppies, puppies. Come on, let's get up. Let's get up. Hi, guys.
Karen Copley's Airedale puppies are just starting to crawl up their learning curve.
Puppies. Puppies.
The 6-week-olds have figured out the bare necessities for surviving.
Hey, look. Milk truck's here. Come here.
Mother Hannah isn't holding back.
Hannah was much better this time. She volunteered to feed and was generally much better than she's been with the previous litters. Maybe practice. I don't know. Practice makes perfect, and she's decided maybe motherhood isn't as bad as everyone says it is.
Hannah's also helping her youngsters overcome hurdles.
Come on, you can do it. Come on, you can do it.
He's required remedial stair climbing.
There you go. Go up the stairs. Get your mom. Go get her. There you go. See?
Few obstacles are expected to stop these tiny terriers from leaping forward.
Easy. Good girls. Gonna give me kisses?
After all, the Airedale's ability to master new tasks
She's jealous. She doesn't like anyone else sitting on my lap.
Good girl.
and to delight new masters make it a breed apart from all others.
Gonna give me kisses?